Alright, so today we're going to be looking at some of Akiyama's games, following up on the interview I did with him, and just looking through kind of how he plays and what he does so well. I'd like to make a few comments about his style first, and also just the incredible run of success he's had. As I record this, he is the current leader in most weekly opens won. He has won 3 of 11, which is more than anyone else. He has won 2 of the closed GBs, which is tied for the most of anyone. He also won the Halloween Hand Tournament and the Clan Tournament at the same time. He also won the Weekly Open the same week those finished, beating a really strong field of Delhi, Turds, Blizzard, and Addy in that order. And just an incredible run. I think if you just look at, tournament wins, he's been the most successful player in the return. And that is despite playing in 2 3-way finals, which are really difficult to win. So he's been just phenomenal player, especially in later October into November and December. I think he was a little slower out of the gates than some players, but has come on so strong since then. He has passed everyone in achievement. And so we're going to look at a few of his games. Sadly, I couldn't find any games where he went for the structure he said was his favorite out of the 3 corners. But I think I found some cool games that show some cool stuff he does. In my opinion, the thing he does best is he really quickly evaluates which moves are important and is really quick to see if there's any combo potential in them down the road. So even if it doesn't look like the standard conventional idea works, he will often check a move further and find a way to get it to work. And I think that's going to really show in this game. And maybe some of the others. So his opponent was Sergio in this one. And Sergio started in 5. And for 2 of the first 3 games we look at, we're going to see an opposing starter in 5. And in both he replies similarly and notes his combo potential. So he sees he has this combo potential. And that means, even though he has no recapture on this card, he can play it. So this would be the desirable move to make, right? It takes a card that might not find a good home, but now instead of a corner spot, because corners are easy to play in spots where their 2 numbers are highest out facing, verticals and horizontals are a bit trickier to find a good home, but against a 5 starter, it naturally has both of its 8s facing out. Now the opponent can capture it multiple different ways, but none of these are good, because he has calculated the combo back to a huge advantage, and I think this is just winning. And so even though the opponent can attack it and he has no natural recapture, he knows he has this covered and he finds a really nice way to use a horizontal card in his hand. His opponent ends up going in 7, which is a curious move, but not easy to refute. Because if we went here, our opponent would naturally build out a whole lot of safety. And if we went here, our opponent is both... Sorry, not that one. Here, our opponent is both safe and combos us. And while we do have one way to combo back, here we see doesn't really lead to anything good. I guess this is a tie. Is there a way to win this? No, I think that's the best they'll get. But it doesn't lead to anything there. And so the move we want to make is in 4 locking in 7. But that doesn't seem to work. The next idea we'd look to do is maybe go in 9. But it's hard to play a good move in 9 either, because a few things happen. One is anything in 9 they can take. And we don't really have good ways to take back. And 2 is it blocks 6, which is a combo square for Akiyama. So these are definitely the 2 moves he'd want to play, but it doesn't look like they work at all. And what I think's really cool is he finds a way to make the move you'd want to make, but sees a move further and gets everything to work really elegantly. So he plays here, walking into this, which is safe, which flips everything, and which, as we know, this is not a winning reply to due to this. But he has seen further, and he's seen further before he went in 4, right? To go in 4, he has to have seen this idea. And so this is one of those times when he's really good at seeing what do I want to do, and then finding the combo potential that makes that idea work. And so here, he has seen ahead to find this move. And this is beautiful. Now, if the opponent goes in 4, he can take 6, but he's comboing an extra card, right? Because he's comboing 5, 4, 1, 2, and now this wins 6-4. And so his opponent cannot go in 2. His opponent did end up going in 2, and that was the end of the game. If his opponent tries to block the big combo in 6, well, he has this plus small. And again, he wins 6-4. And I just think this is a really elegantly spotted win at a distance, because this move looks so thoroughly refuted by this. But he saw a little combo potential, and that indicates there might be more, and he has this combo potential, but this one doesn't work either because this card is combos absolutely everywhere, so probably this is the best start, and this looks like a win because 8-3-1-8 will combo basically everything. Either way, will combo everything. So just really sharply seen to see this move coming before playing in 4. And I think it would have been so easy looking at the position to be like, 4 doesn't work, 4 doesn't work, 9 doesn't work, oh, this is a really tough position. And instead, he found the win. The next game I'm going to show is against Wavey, and I think it's a similar concept, but maybe even a better find, because the calculation is trickier. I have the hand saved. Oh no, I just opened the wrong file. Is this the game I think it is? No, this is against Midas. This is a chat tournament semifinals versus Midas. And Midas also started in 5. And again, Akiyama finds a nice move sliding next to it, noting, I have combo potential here, I have combo potential here. So I'm going to play next to one of the sides I don't have combo potential. There's combo potential here too, but we can't really play next to this side without flipping 5, and so if we want to exploit the we could play this card, but that gives up the combo potential here. So he's looking for these high out-facing moves that we'll be able to play off combos later. And this is a nice one because it creates a difficulty for the opponent, right? This, the opponent has 7 covered, right? They potentially can capture both sides at some point. So he's doing the slide along move that creates the most difficulties. The opponent doesn't have 9. This time he does have 9. Akiyama does, 7-7-8-5. But last time we saw he doesn't even need that if he has sufficient combo potential. His opponent Midas went in 4, which looks pretty logical. You know, an easy card to take back. Does give up more combo potential. But I think in this case... Oh, the computer says that holds. I was going to say probably going in 1 holds. And this does hold as well. And again, Akiyama just finds the kind of highly combative kind of slide along move and plays here. And this is not a move I would look at all early into calculating a position. But it's actually a forced win, which is crazy to me. Like, to me, I'd be like, I go here. I'm safe. My card in 6 is safe. This looks good. And I guess that does win too. Okay. But this is a much more complex way to do it. You have to have seen so much more in the position. But it does give tons of squares that Akiyama has that his opponent does not. Right? So 6A85 has 6. Can go in 7. As can 7-6-6A. Right? Just throwing a random card for the opponent. There are 2 ways to have this square. There is a combo on this square, and that's a big combo that potentially flips a bunch of extra things. And notably, the opponent Midas has nothing to put in 1. It doesn't have 3, but it sort of obliges Midas to have to take 3 immediately, because if Akiyama gets 3, the cards in 2 and 6 immediately become safe. So Midas kind of has to go 3, right? It says, if you don't take this square, it's the best square I could possibly ask for. So you have to take it, and I've calculated out a way to punish it. And again, he's just seen the whole way. Midas takes the square, and now we can note something like this. It doesn't work. It loses. And it loses because everything's comboed back, and Akiyama doesn't have a combo at the end, right? There are 2 combo squares, 1 and 7, and now both are occupied. So how to do it? Well, Midas doesn't have 1, and Akiyama does have both, so Akiyama can take 7 first. But he has to do so with the right card. And I haven't checked why the other one doesn't work, so let's figure it out. If we combo this way, one problem is Midas actually does have a potential combo back in 8. Now, that doesn't work here, but it is in the air that Midas actually does have another combo square in 8 that we have to be really careful about. And so, I think he can just go here. And A837 combos anything put in 8. And this is actually winning for Midas. Yeah. So instead, has to hold on to 6A85 so it can block 8 later, and combos with this card, and this is the win. And again, I think he saw this before he played in 2. And I think this is just a really impressive calculation, because this is complicated. There is so much combo potential. A837 is potentially scary, 96A2 is potentially scary. I just think this is a really difficult and very precise calculation that, having seen Akiyama play, I suspect he played far quicker than anyone else would make these moves, because he is very fast, and I think that comes from being a very, very good calculator and very good at knowing which moves matter. And maybe even more than knowing which moves matter, having a sense of what the logic of the position is. Knowing 3, I can make 3 the most valuable square on the board, and I don't think he can occupy 3. I think he walks into too much combo potential, and I can make it work. And if he combos back here, that's fine, because I have the combos at the end, and it's just enough. And if he goes here, I can just block with the A out, and he has no captures at the end. How did the game finish? Midas went for 8, and Akiyama took 1, and there is your win. Just really good tactical vision. I can't stress that enough, because I think a move like this requires both precision and calculation, but also to be looking at this move requires seeing, I have so much combo potential, and I don't want 1 or 7 occupied. And if I do something like go here, this is a good move, but he'll start playing in squares like 7 and occupying the squares I want to play combo moves in. But if I play here, I oblige him to go 3, and I can leave those open a turn longer. And sort of the longer you leave open combo squares, the more powerful they end up being. So again, just phenomenal calculation. I believe he ended up winning that weekly tournament. That was the 8th one. I'm not actually entirely sure. That can be looked up. But I won't do it because I'm lazy. And we move to the 3rd game, which was a trade game against Wavey. And this was just another one where I thought really sharp to have seen refutations to lots of moves that look reasonable. So we're going to move kind of quick through the opening. Wavey goes here. Akiyama likes adjacent corners and goes with the adjacent corner here. He tends to go for adjacent corners the most, I've noticed, when his opponent has nothing in the in-between square. It's not so much setting himself up to go in 8. You'll notice he actually has no captures in 8, right? But it's to not give the opponent any play in 8. Here, Wavey, quite reasonably, takes 8 anyway. And we see Akiyama's hand was really bad going down right. You know, Wavey played a really good starter. Another theme of these games is Akiyama survives some very bad looking randoms. It is really hard to address these cards. The only way to do so is this guy. But this guy is difficult to play, because if it goes here, it just walks into a big combo, and you'll notice we have no way to take back from 3. We'll get to that, doesn't work, but, you know, it looks scary to play. And this one, I believe, also walks into some things. I mean, it's close to walking into the same thing. But anyhow, he does go in 6. So we see, okay, this can be comboed back. So that's not very appealing. And this I believe we can play here, and it's quite difficult for red to save. There's a huge threat in 2 that will win if it happens. I think red has to block 2. Yeah, this is the only tying move. So again, sees the diagonals, sees this combo potential really quickly. But most impressive was while he was picking to play his move in 6, he saw a response to what Wavey actually played, because Wavey played an incredibly logical move. Wavey played here, noting there's no capture in 2, and if you occupy 5, you've just given me a much more effective combo, and you know, I'm gonna win this. My 7-8-5-8 dominates the top row. So this looks great for Wavey, because Akiyama can't go in 5, Akiyama can't go in 2. Moves in 4 look pretty uncomfortable, because as we've seen, 7-8-5-8 is not that, but a move here's, anything like this can be met by something like this when 7-8-5-8 just dominates the top row. This is just going to win. But Akiyama had seen this position in advance. This game was from a while ago, but I remember him mentioning that he was proud of this move because he had it ready to go against a reply in 3. And to get to 3, you have to have already checked all the moves in 5. And to make sure they work, and look at 3 and not think, well, that looks terrible for me. Either 5 works or it doesn't. 5 doesn't work, well, this line sucks. He kept looking, and he already had the idea of going A4-7-7 in 1. This is a tremendous move, and it is a winning move. So if some response like this, now 6-6-A7 comes out, and 6-7-7-9 can deal with 9-5-8-7 and 5, but it can't deal with 6-6-7-A. If this card here, well, now you can deal with 6-6-7-A, but you can't deal with 9-5-8-7, so that's going to win. Here, you just lose to this, right? Yeah. Here, I think you still lose to that. Nope, you comboed something. Gotta be careful. I'm being foolish. No, of course, now we can go here, because you've given up the card that combos it, right? If you go here, 6-7-7-9 combos this move, so I had to look for something else. But if you go here, you don't have that combo, so I can take the big same in 5. And can you occupy 5 first? Well, if you go here, this walks into the combo, and you lose. And if you do it this way, 7-8-5-8 is kind of dead. Let's do it this way. And so this is I think a really not easy move to see, even when there's just 4 squares left to be checking. This is kind of one of the last things you check. But I think he had the logic. I think, again, he had the logic of the position. I can't occupy 5, but each of their cards only controls the move I want to make in 5 one way. Or 6-7-7-9 controls this card, but it doesn't control anything else I could put anywhere. So if they hold on to this card, I can't go 5. But if they hold on to this card, I have 5 winning. And if they hold on to 6-9-7-7, or 6-7-7-9, any of my other cards win. That doesn't cover any of them. So all I have to do is get one of the cards out of their hand while making sure they can't go in 5 themselves. And this move does so beautifully. And again, the impressive thing is he didn't just see this here, which would be strong enough, but he saw this when he played in 6, that he could meet this move with this trap. And that's really deep. So I got one more game to show. It is not as deep a trap. It is not as brilliant a calculation or anything. But I thought it would not be a complete story of Akiyama if I didn't show him playing a 2-minute open game. And this is a game where I think he took a really difficult random. He's going to be our second turn player here against Seto, so against a very strong opponent with a difficult random, and he ties and makes it look pretty easy. And so and playing a 2-minute game, so he's playing this very quickly. I think he plays flawlessly. It's not, some moves that are going to look brilliant or anything, but it's just very comfortably against strong moves from an incredibly strong player in Seto with a tough random, finds a comfortable tie. So Seto starts here, and we can already see why this game is going to be difficult. We cannot approach that starter. What's more, if we start looking through our cards, we do have some ways to set up a bit against it. And I think this is reasonable, and he could have gone this route. But he doesn't set up against it and still finds a way to tie, even though he is giving up ever addressing the starter. He goes here. And he finds a way. You've played in one corner strongly. That gives up power facing the other corner. Now you have a little difficulty taking this 8. I can create a little bit of a problem for you. Seto very reasonably builds out from his starter. And here, Akiyama just makes all his cards click. And he just sets up. He has a Seimin 7. He has a Seimin 5. That's going to be devastatingly strong if left open. So Seto blocks 7. He takes the Seimin 5. And not only has he achieved a comfortable tie here, but it's kind of Seto that has to be briefly careful to make sure he doesn't lose this one. There is only one tying move here. It's in 6. He does find it. And the game ends this way. But I thought it was just a nice example of a starter that looks pretty difficult to meet. I do think 5 was a decent option, but in general looks difficult to meet. And not only did he meet it comfortably, but he was the one who actually managed to put on pressure. And did it in a 2-minute format where it can be really difficult to find answers to stuff because you just don't have the time to think things through. But the thing with Akiyama is he does anyway. He's just so fast to get to correct evaluations of what a position demands. And so I guess those are the 4 games of Akiyama's. I think the first 3 are really cool tactical spottings from very far out, right? Because he's reliably hitting people. And actually every game I showed was him on second turn. But on move 4, he's reliably in advance seeing difficult to find move 6s that are absolutely crushing. Akiyama is one of the players I've found that really does well on second turn, is really good at figuring out what's needed and doing it, and able to calculate out games earlier than most players, which really helps on second turn because then you only have to make 1 or 2 moves without being entirely in your calculation. And if you can get through those, you can, do great things. So those are some Akiyama games. Again, I think he's been overall the most successful player in the return of the site. And so far, at least, obviously hoping to surpass. But he is, ahead of me in weekly opens 1. He's been dominant. And he's tied with Delhi in closed GBs 1, but also ahead of him in weekly opens, because again, Akiyama has the most weekly opens. The only 2 hand tournaments that have been completed, the Halloween hand tournament and the clan tournament, he's won both of them. He almost single-handedly knocked AVL out of the clan tournament. He beat Foyer in round 2. He beat Tezuka in the semifinals. He beat Piggy in the finals. That's 3 out of the 4 on the team. He was the only person to beat an AVL player that wasn't from AVL, and he knocked out 3 of the 4. Just truly tremendous run, and I think you can see in his games how sharp he is, and how willing he is to go for complicated lines that he has figured out beautifully.